To be a refugee is the hardest things in anybody's life. And why we are refugee is not a choice. We're forced to be a refugee.
This film is a project of Lewisham Refugee Network for the Refugee Week celebration. It aims to raise people's awareness on the lives some of the refugees have had back in their country and here in England. The people we interviewed talked about their loss and their sadness, the joy of being provided sanctuary, the struggles they faced in rebuilding their lives, and the hopes and aspirations not only for themselves but also for their families. For various reasons, some of the participants didn't want their faces to be shown, and we have respected their wish. Thank you for watching it.
I was one of the white farmers up in the north of Zimbabwe, northeast in fact. My farm was Keith farm, and there was a knock on the door at 12 o'clock at night, and the police came and arrested me. I don't know what happened. I was unconscious for 3 months. When I came to, they took over the farms, they pushed me out the country. I was put on a plane and sent here to England.
I thought it was because the Chinese said we weren't Chinese and the Vietnamese said we were Chinese.
My parents decided to go to a new country, and as a result they sold everything that we had in Vietnam, and we took a journey on a bus to a port and boarded a boat. We had a little area at the near the engine room, and there were lots and lots of people also making the same journey, and it took us a long time to get to Hong Kong. We got to England by flight. It was all very exciting for me because my parents had told me a lot of good things about England.
So if we came from our own country, there's the rich life, the good life. Probably I had the good life. I had my own vehicle, I had my own house. I had 2 houses there. So I don't have any problem. I got the good salary. So I lived in peace, but some reason, political reason, and the civil war mainly. The civil war compelled me to leave the country. So I left the country just to protect my life and my family.
But it's happened that there is a war in our country where there's this, I don't know, it's either political or tribalism or clan fighting.
I didn't know what I was going to do, but they allowed me to stay on the condition that I worked. So my position was precarious in that I didn't know from one day to the next whether I was going to have work, and also not knowing where I was going to get my next daily bread or where I was going to stay or anything.
and we moved to our home, which was then in Birkenhead. But unfortunately, in Birkenhead, it wasn't as nice as it was in Cheshire, because we suffered a lot of racism up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't remember it being slightly younger, it was still quite a pleasant memory for me. So it was still just going to school, making friends, playing, and yeah. So when we had to move, it was just another adventure. It wasn't a hardship. But maybe we'd gotten used to it by that time, hey?
Yeah. Yeah. But I went to a different school, which was a lot further, and my journey had to be taken on a bus, and that meant walking through the estate and getting on the bus and doing the same again in the evening. And on that journey, sometimes like the children, they would spit at us or call us names, and it wasn't very pleasant to be walking when there's that kind of thing going on. So and then in our homes as well, on most evenings we would have our windows smashed. So we have like big car parts and bricks and things like that. So eventually the council, they got so fed up they didn't even bother fixing our windows anymore, because straight after it would get smashed. And for some time we even had a policeman patrolling outside the house, didn't we?
Yeah.
Walking up and down, just like 10 Downing Street it was.
Yeah.
And felt so privileged.
Yeah.
But even that didn't stop the abuse that we had.
After I'd started working and managed to get myself going, was alright until a year and a half back, when I lost my job with the people that I was working with, because I became disabled through the wrong safety equipment. All I was living on was my disability allowance, which was only £55 a week at that time. Now I was in fear that they might throw me out the country.
Yes, we came, we get the safety, we have houses, we live in a comfortable life, but there's something that we'll never have it. A home. Home belongs to us. A place I call my home, my country, where I'm surrounded with my people I love, I grow up. A dream, I dreamed my life. To be to be educated, to speak my language, to talk to my children, to understand. If anybody thinks that refugees, they are here comfortable, we are not. I still have nightmares, I still have fear, although I know nobody is coming to shoot me or to kill me, but I'm just always carrying that fear. I don't feel safe, even in a safe country. I don't feel safe. And I know that nobody is going to kill my children. My children born here, grow up here, who is going to be university, who is going to finish their GCSE, they are heading. But I'm afraid always that fear deep down. It's every single night I will sleep, I'm afraid that something will happen, and I wake up in the morning and that fear every single night. To be a refugee, it means you are haunted by so many things, by the war.
And my parents couldn't find any work, and there wasn't anyone that they could speak to, because they didn't know much English. But for us children, we learnt really quick, didn't we? It just came in an instant.
Probably the best part of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just remembered, like, one day I couldn't read a book, and the next day, I was reading every single book. So it just was very, very easy.
Lots of happy memories growing up there, going to the local school, making loads of friends. Never really occurred not being able to speak the language or anything like that. But I think that's probably the privilege of being a child.
It's something I will never, ever, or pass it to my children. Language, songs, music, history, emotion. I can't give my children. We learn how to count at a younger age. How? We sit down around the tree. They ask us to all, to put our legs out and count it. There's songs I can't remember. When you lose a grandmother, you always have another grandmother replacing your mother. So, you know, they don't think if I lost, or if one of my friends lost her grandmother, we used to say, don't worry, your grandmother went up, but you can share me with my grandmother. They always say grandmother. I can't give my children that one. You know, we have the simplest food that nobody thinks, dates and milk. But that time here is something to us. We sit down around the tree and my grandmother telling us a story. I will never pass that to my children, historical. And I'm sure that story she told her, she learned it from her mother and mother from great mother, and we pass it. I can't pass that one. A whole history lost. I can't pass it to my children.
We don't know, you know, about our culture as much as we do about the British culture, and as a result, I think we feel more British than Vietnamese, because particularly because when we go back to Vietnam, it's more like a holiday, and everything is seen, you know, with the eyes of a person going on holiday, because it's so unfamiliar. So, for example, even, you know, the number of, you know, Vietnamese people that, you know, we saw, like the whole country, you know, filled with Vietnamese people. I mean, even that was, you know, strange, because we're so used to seeing, you know, well,
white people.
Yeah, white people and black people, and, you know, more mixed people, and not so many Oriental people. And then even like hearing, you know, our language, you know, that sounds funny to us as well, because you know, it just sounds different. It's not like, you know, the same sound like we speak at home, and you know, and it's also loud, and, you know, everyone, you know, just behaves differently. And I think in a way, like, even we behave differently. We live in London, so we're living in a rat race, and we look like we're sprinting all the time, whilst in Vietnam people are, you know, casually strolling.
To be a refugee, it means like a tree, you cut in it half, and that half travel, but the other half is stay in the root, stay on the soil, your roots, and that is, to be a refugee, that it means to me.
I've been back to Vietnam 7 times, so, you know, you can tell I really loved it. And the first time I went, I loved it so much I stayed there for 3 months, and, you know, I just wanted to learn everything, you know, about where I came from, because I have memories of, you know, where I came from, and I just wanted to see, you know, if they were the same, and to explore all the things that, you know, my parents couldn't, you know, tell me. Say, for example, like, you know, how different people look, and how different, you know, they would speak and cook and things like that. So just seeing different areas that they've told us about in stories, and, you know, just like seeing the, you know, my old school, and seeing my old house, and, you know, just going to see my old friends and things like that. Although I don't, you know, really remember them really now, but you know, it's just good to, you know, to see all that, because I think it makes you feel like, you know, you came from somewhere, instead of, you know, being like suspended, because at that age, because you know, you kind of feel kind of adrift, don't you? Because you kind of feel like you came from somewhere, but you don't know where.
Yeah, see, I don't feel like I belong anywhere.
That's what I mean. But when you go back home, you know, then you can see where you came from, and you know.
See, I've been back there once. I don't remember anybody. I don't remember anything.
Because everyone needs a history, and everyone needs an anchor of, you know, to know, you know, what they are and where they come from, and, you know, why do they look the way they look, and, you know, why, you know, we behave the way we do. And I think, you know, for me, going back home, you know, puts that, you know, in, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
So you feel more Vietnamese then?
I couldn't live there, but I could definitely, you know, take lots of holiday there, and, you know, enjoy, you know, all the food that they have there.
It's not much of an anchor then, more of a
armband
float then, isn't it?
No, but it gives you,
a sponge floating
but it gives you a sense of like where, you know, you came from. I think that's important.
Yeah, but do you feel?
Yeah, like, you know, where you come from, which is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't get that.
Don't you?
No.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Because I always had, like, growing up here, I always had questions in my mind, you know, about, you know, because about many things, you know, like, say, for example, if someone were to make a comment about my skin colour or whatever, you know, I'd say, like, oh, you know, what about other people in Vietnam? Are they like me? You know, what are the other people, you know, over there? What are they like? Because if you remember, in those days, obviously there's no internet and there's hardly any books in the library about Vietnam, and you know, obviously most people haven't travelled to Vietnam, so you know, you couldn't really ask anyone about, you know, any part of the country where you come from. And if you meet like other families who are refugees, they are from different areas of Vietnam, so they will tell you about the things, you know, where they came from, but it's not, you know, where you come from, so you know, you just don't have that connection.
Our children is a lost generation without a history. They love Britain. Every one of them, Britain is their home. Would you like to go home? No, I'm not going home. This is my country. This is where I live. I'm happy here. Why should I go there? And that also makes me sad.
So what I am telling now, because when I compare with my previous professional job and my present situation in the UK, there's very, very big difference. Very, very big gap is there. But I know, so I can't reach that position here. This is not my own country. So, but I didn't fed up. I tried to get something positive, and I think always positive to get something through my qualification. And I did not waste my time during this period. I worked in a private sector here for 13 months, and other 13 months I was in the job seeker allowance and nurse support or like that. But during that period I never wasted my time. I joined the college, I studied English literature and numeracy. I got the level 2 certificates, and after that I did the computer literate and European computer driving license NVQ level 2 through the Land Direct Center. And after that I got my SIA Security Industrial Authority license course, and I passed and I got the license. I got the CSCS card. I got my driving license. I learned here and I got my driving license. So these are the things. I didn't waste my time. I more self-motivated to achieve something.
My brother, he has his own, you know, self-employed business, and my sister also has older sister also has a successful business, and I myself now run a beauty business, and my sister here, we work together in this business. So you know, I think we've made the most of our opportunities here. And I think, you know, I've made my parents, you know, quite proud, or we've all made our parents quite proud.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we've all bought our own houses, have our own cars, tick the boxes.
Yeah.
And I got in touch with Lewisham Refugee Network, who brightened me up and helped me to get out of my depression. They more or less took over and helped me. It was fantastic to have people around who cared for people from outside. Before, because everything was taking place, I had to do myself, and I fought with the British Immigration Service for 10 years, and Lewisham Refugee Network then helped me by sending me to Duncan Lewis. And after that, Duncan Lewis managed to get me indefinite leave to remain in the country.
But mainly, I need to thank CDG and Lewisham Network, Refugee Network. Probably they advised me and they helped me in certain things, and they have solved some problem. So if I had some problems, especially the staff is very nice. Especially they understood our feelings. That's very important. So they care about us, and they are understanding our feelings, and they are helping us.
Our journey in England, I think, you know, we lived in about 5 places, didn't we, before we finally lived in, you know, West Norwood.
Probably.
Yeah, so we've moved a lot, and you know, had a lot of experiences which made us very strong and independent.
I wish if they live the life I live. I wish if they know what it means as parents, grandparents, uncle, extended family, neighbors, children. I wish if they grow up without no shoes. I wish if they wait for the rain. I wish if they know what it means in rain. When it comes, you just scream and you play under the rain and you tell the neighbor as if you are telling them a good news. Rain, rain, and we all play in rain. I wish they know what it means to be a clear sky. When then you see the sky, the stars, and they tell you the middle, the big stars, they call it name. I can't remember that name, but I know the name in that time. I wish for them to forget about the TV sitting out, about the games. I wish them to play with the stones, the counting, simple things. I wish if they do that, then they will know what it means to a home. Now they have games there, but I just carry that history with me, but I cannot pass it to my children. A refugee, it means you lost everything, not only a home, but you lost a history with you.